certain to be the crowd favourite here tonight as he makes his way to the ring to come in and join Jeff Fenech.
He may be the crowd favourite, but he's not the favourite with bookies. Fenech is currently 6-4 on.
Tony Miller, who last up fought Lester Ellis in October. He lost that on points, and a very controversial points decision, many believe. Very hard puncher. He's had 10 knockouts from his 22 fights. And Tony Miller now stepping into the ring at the Melbourne Sports and Entertainment Centre. We'll take a break and we'll be back with the action in just a few moments. Welcome back to the Melbourne Sports and Entertainment Centre. It's the first round between Tony Miller and Jeff Fenech before this excellent crowd here. 12 3-minute rounds for the Australian featherweight title.
And Peter Denzel Creed, when he gave the instructions, very, very stern in using the head. And we know that both of these gentlemen intend to use the head. Fenech against Zaragoza and Coffey used his head, and Tony Mad Dog Miller didn't get that nickname for nothing. He got it for bad behaviour.
Creed, incidentally, was initially not a popular choice as the third man for this fight, but he said in the press that he was well credentialed and, in fact, as a prison warder at the Boggo Road Jail, so he's got to be tough.
Yes, he's not altogether inexperienced. He's done over 20 state titles. He's refereed over 8 national titles, so the guy has got the credentials. This is going to be one hell of a fight. Tony Miller has nothing to lose, everything to win. Jeff Fenech, he's got a big fight coming up next month, so he's got to be careful. But the way it's starting off right now, Jeff Fenech will not have to look for Tony Mad Dog Miller because he'll be right there in front of him.
Tony's got his title to lose, Gus. Can I correct you on that?
Well, I mean, when you're looking at fighting Jeff Fenech, I mean, what has he got to lose? He can beat him or run close to him and still have a big win.
And of course, Fenech really is a natural featherweight. The half a stone will do him nothing but good. Half a stone extra.
Don't forget, Tony Miller is the junior lightweight champion of Australia and Australasia. Tough kid. I was surprised he came in about 2.5 kilos lighter than Jeff Fenech.
And he was eating a Mars bar before the weigh-in.
So good right hand. He caught Fenech with the right hand there. Fenech came in, he caught him with the right hand.
Oh. Fenech closed with the left and then he finished him off.
Sensation that occurred at the 1:50 mark of the first round. There's a minute to go in the first.
He hit him with the left hook.
We might be in for an early night. Miller covering up.
They may call him Mad Dog, but they're going to be getting an RSPCA truck to carry this guy out while he's going in the first round. Fenech is delivering a severe bout of distemper here in the first round to the Mad Dog Miller. He's throwing lefts and rights at will. Most are connecting. Another good right, another good left.
30 seconds to go in the round.
The question is, will Mad Dog last?
Can Miller last it out? Fenech seeking to finish him off, but Miller is tough.
And Miller also supporting a small cut over the nose.
I'm not surprised. 9 seconds to go in the round. Denzel Creed having a very close look at it. The bell's going to be a welcome sound.
He'll last the round now.
What a round. What a round for Jeff Fenech. The bell to the end of round 1. The eyes belong to Tony Miller, and they were blinking a lot during the round. There's a little mouse on his nose there. Lionel Rose at ringside watching the action. We come out for round 2, and obviously, Gus, Jeff Fenech a clear winner in the first.
Oh, by 2 points, a 2-point margin. And as I said earlier, that Fenech is not really a noted one-punch knockout artist. He stopped 10 of his 14 guys with an accumulation of punches, but he hit Tony Miller solid and put him right down. This is going to be a hell of a fight if it goes a distance.
It doesn't look like doing that at the moment, although in pre-fight press conferences, the guys said both thought it would.
Well, maybe Jeff Fenech has booked an early restaurant for tonight because it looks like he's on his way home. Mad Dog's a tough boy, but Jeff is throwing punches much quicker. As Gus said, he's not a noted one-punch knockout artist, but maybe that half a stone has given him that edge he needs.
And that's interesting because Fenech came in 2.5 kilos heavier than Miller. Miller came in at, 2.5 kilos under. And there's a saying in boxing, a good big man will always beat a good small man.
And we know
he's a good big man.
And we know he's got 12 centimetres or 3.5 inches reach.
That's right.
Advantage. And look at that combination from Jeff Fenech. He's turning it on here for the Melbourne crowd in his first professional bout in Melbourne. And boy, what a show he's putting on.
Well, Tony Miller's being given a boxing lesson at the moment. He's covering up and in trouble again.
He's been given a lesson on how to be a moving punching bag. That's what Tony Miller's been given a lesson on. And Jeff Fenech, as we know, is a world-class fighter, and he's showing it tonight.
Halfway through the second round, a minute and a half gone. And Miller's going to have to change his tactics a little bit. Maybe get to close quarters because Fenech's picking him off with that longer reach. It's about 12 centimetres, I think, isn't it, Gus?
Yes, well, it's a longer reach. I don't know. I'm not into the centimeters bit that much, but it's about at least 2.5 inches longer. And in fact, if we look it up, it is 2.5 inches longer. And he's making good use of it. Fenech is a real fighting machine. He looks absolutely fantastic tonight. I've seen him box a couple of times. He's looking better than I've ever seen him tonight.
Well, he's had 8 months layoff, and he said to me before this fight he wanted to be back in the ring, doing what he does best. He's doing that tonight. There's 5,500 to 6,000 people here, hoping that this fight will go more than 2 rounds.
And it is 3.5 inches, Peter. 3.5 inches reach difference.
Each side, yeah, each wing.
What, you've read the calculator, have you, Gus?
A good fight. Fenech looking very purposeful, very purposeful. I'll tell you what, if he gets out of this clean without any cuts or damages, he's got the junior featherweight championship in his grasp, the WBC one.
Yes, heaven helps Sir Mark Karoun, who's going to be the next victim on the Jeff Fenech hit list. But the victim at the moment is Tony Mad Dog Miller, and he's copping it from all angles.
Don't worry about Tony, though. He's got a heart as big as his hall. He'll be there. He'll stay.
10 seconds to go in the round.
Denzel Creed doing a good job. A good job.
Bell for the end of round 2. Let's take a look at some of the replay from the second round. Again, another good one for Jeff Fenech, so you'd have to score Fenech 2 rounds and probably leading at the moment, Gus, by 3 points.
By 3 points. He won the first round by 2 points. He won that round by a point.
And we're seeing a slow motion replay, and still on the slow-mo, Jeff Fenech is throwing 4 and 5 punches in a matter of half a second.
Third round. Jeff Fenech, a clear points leader so far. Let's see what Tony Miller can come up with.
No sign of trouble from that damaged second knuckle in his left hand. The knuckle that has caused him to have 2 operations, delay 2 fights. Of course, he hasn't fought Jeff Fenech for 8 months since he beat Steve McCrory, the man who took the 84 gold medal. But look at that. He's laying it all over Tony Mad Dog Miller.
And Miller receiving a caution there from Denzel Creed, asked to keep the punches up.
Fenech is very cool. He's very calculating. He thinks that I'm on top of this guy, and he's showing it. The guy is very, very good.
Well, he keeps up the pressure, Gus. That's the secret with Jeff, isn't it? He keeps up that pressure. He doesn't let up.
His confidence is supreme, too. It's like that quiet, confident Australian we talk about. Looks good.
Approaching the minute mark of the third round.
Well, let's give credit to Mad Dog. He's in there swinging. He's copping a lot. Oh, a big right hand from Jeff Fenech.
The knees buckled then.
Tell you what, this extra weight has done the world of good for Jeff Fenech. The world of good.
The man says he wants to go on the Marrickville Mauler, wants to go on not to win 1, not to win 2, but 3 world titles.
Don't push, Jeff, don't push.
In a month, he'll fight for the WBC Super Bantamweight. After that, he'll be fighting for the Featherweight title.
And I just got to look at Barry Boy Michael sitting over there. He's looking at this very, very concerned.
All right, don't hold, Tony. Don't hold, Tony.
Well, Barry Michaels could be about number 3 on the hit list.
That's right, his IBF Junior Lightweight Championship.
Don't hold.
You've seen some of the greats. How good is Jeff Fenech?
Fenech is very good. He is really good. He's on top right now. He looks excellent. He's punching well. He's thinking. He's boxing smoothly. He's in shape. He's got his head stuck a little bit in the air. That's something I don't like. I'd like to see him pull that head down a little bit, but other than that, I can't fault anything he's done.
Well, Miller hasn't been able to hit it too often, Gus, has he?
No, but if you stick it up in the air, somebody's going to hit it.
And what can Miller do, Gus? I mean, what does he do to get out of this situation?
I think he's in trouble. I think he's in trouble. I think the only thing he can do is go home.
I guess you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to work out Miller's in trouble.
But of course, Tony Miller's the kind of guy that won't go home. He'll stay there. He'll fight it out. And he could turn it around. You never can tell. Boxing is a funny game.
Close to the end of the third. Again, a good one for Fenech. Miller can't come to grips with him and can't get in close. And he needs to, because Fenech's got a huge reach advantage.
Yes, Miller's a brawler. He likes to get in close, but the hostility is going all the way to Jeff Fenech.
All right, right. And step back. Box.
That was a good punch. Good counter by Fenech. They're just the same.
Watch your heads, watch your heads.
Big right and left. Miller in trouble again. Fenech comes after him. The bell has gone for the end of round 3. Coming up to the 4th round now.
Second round.
Jeff Fenech, a clear leader on points.
Box.
Well, old Tony came out strong there, throwing a right hand and a couple of left hooks, but Jeff Fenech has got the wood on him.
Well, credit to the boys' ticker. If I was Tony Miller, I'd be putting the running shoes on and doing the bolt straight through Olympic Park.
Well, Tony won't do that. Tony will stay there. Tony will fight it out. He's a good, tough kid, heart as big as this stadium.
But every time he comes in, Jeff is using that reach perfectly. He's sticking that left jab. He's sticking it and then combining it.
Look at that. Look at that. That's fantastic. Quick, solid punches. Well placed. Fenech looking like a champion.
And for those of you at home who think boxing is just a brutal sport, you're seeing an artist at work here in Jeff Fenech. He's a man who has everything. He's built perfectly for a boxer. The skinny legs, a huge frame.
Miller trying to get to close quarters, but it's like trying to run through a brick wall.
You can't get there. You can't get up there. But as I said in the pre-fight stuff, Jeff Fenech would not have to look for Tony Miller. He'd be there all night, and that's what he is. He's right in front of him all the time.
Miller gritting the teeth after that body attack from Fenech. I must agree with you, John. He really has got lightning fists, hasn't he?
Yes, he's shown it in all these fights, and I guess Miller's main hope is to hope that Jeff Fenech will tire later on after he hasn't, of course, boxed for 8 months, and maybe this onslaught will ease. But in the past, Jeff's shown that he just gets better as the championship rounds come along, and we're a long way from the championship rounds.
Hang in, might be the operative terminology.
Well, Tony will be there. Jeff Fenech is showing some very good stuff tonight. He's showing that the extra weight is going to make him one hell of a fighter. Very hard guy to beat.
Well, we're looking at a man who could win 3 world titles. I
think we are. Of course, it's hard to put that on a guy, but, I mean, still in all, look at him. He's looking very good. He's looking better tonight than I've ever seen him look.
Yeah, so I've seen all of Jeff's fights since he's turned professional, and quite a few when he was an amateur, and there's no doubt he's looking better tonight than ever.
Miller
The extra weight.
still trying to work in close to the body, but Fenech keeps him at bay with strength. 45 seconds of the round to go.
And there's the miracle headlock again. He'll box, he'll brawl, he'll do whatever he has to. But Miller, as we've said time and again, he's showing plenty of ticker. And he's trying to take it up to him, but he just can't get in close, Peter.
No, that was a good one. There's a few more of those. Fenech's defense is rock solid.
Yeah, the uppercut caught the gloves.
The only thing I don't like about his defense, I don't like that head sticking in the air. I got to admit that. I don't like that. I'd like to see him pull it down a bit.
Yeah, he doesn't duck and weave, does he?
We can take a punch too, Fenech.
Yep. Of course, he's punching harder as a featherweight. He's going to get hit harder as a featherweight, too.
There's the bell to the end of round 4. Well, corner working solidly on Tony Miller, who's lost all 4 rounds so far, the first by 2 points.
It was interesting, Peter, that when they were doing the anthem, that Miller almost outstared Fenech because Johnny Lewis turned Fenech around, wouldn't let him look at Miller anymore. I thought that was quite interesting, the way that happened.
5th round.
You see that Miller comes out and throws those punches early. He gets off early, but he can't do anything from then on because the other guy's just that little bit over him right now.
I don't really think I've seen fists as fast as Fenech, perhaps even since Jimmy Carruthers beat Vic Tawil.
In that mighty first round in Africa.
Yes.
Hit him with 147 punches without a return.
Yeah, that was amazing. Well, Fenech's just as fast, I reckon.
Ooh.
Miller's trying to get inside, get him against the ropes, but they're splitting.
Keep your head up, Tony. Box.
The courage of Tony Miller really coming out here. clash of heads.
Those punches up, Jeff.
I don't think he's going to last this round, though, Peter. Fenech is finishing
He's
all
in
over.
trouble. Oh, he's trying to throw him. Crowd doesn't like that.
Well, that's the Ray Price
That's
tumble
all
and
right.
throw from rugby league in Sydney, and
You got to have a bit of fire in a fighter. For a champion, he's got to have a bit of fire.
Keep your head. Keep your head, Ray.
well, he gave Daniel Zaragoza one of the best Liverpool kisses you'll ever see. He's just given Tony Miller a terrific
Big
right
right
hand.
Tony Miller is
Say
in
goodnight.
desperate trouble. Desperate trouble.
Keep your head up.
Tony Miller is in desperate trouble. Jeff Fenech looking every inch a champion, every inch a dual champion.
Halfway through the round.
But will he last the next minute 30?
He's pretty tough. I tell you what, you've got to be tough to cop what he's had. Fenech lining him up with a big right hand, didn't quite connect.
No, stop holding. Tap, Ray.
Tony's going to have to do a bit more, I'll tell you what. He won't last the distance. This guy, I got a lot of regard for Tony Miller. I refereed half a dozen of his fights. Tough kid, but he is in trouble tonight, worse than I've ever seen him before.
Less than a minute to go on the round.
All right, break it up, break it up, break it up, break. Box.
And Brian Levere over there is very concerned. Brian Levere loves this kid like a son. He has no signed contract, just his handshake with him.
And of course, Miller has fought some great fighters as well. He fought Rivera, who went on to win a world title. It's not as though he should have been this outclassed. It's just that Fenech has come out and been more awesome than you could possibly expect him to be.
I did the fight in Korea when Rivera won the world championship, and if Miller would have been in Rivera's place that night, he would be the world champion. Featherweight IBF tonight.
20 seconds to go in the round.
Say goodnight. The ropes are keeping him up.
Oh, big right hand.
Tell you what,
The bell will be a welcome sound for Tony Miller.
And the courage of Tony Miller coming out again as he fights off the bell of America
To the end of round 5. What a round.
what the last bit of that round, he started to fire. He started to fire just to show that he wasn't intimidated, and Tony Miller is not beat. Look at that.
And there it was. Not a lot of glove landed there, Gus, but
There goes
basically...
Barry. Barry Michaels going home. He's seen
He's
enough.
had enough, I think.
Well, after what he had to say to the crowd earlier, no doubt, Barry Michaels was very harsh with the crowd when he was introduced to the crowd, saying that Melbourne people didn't seem to like to see him fight. Of course, a lot of Melbourne people think he's been dodging Lester Ellis,
Especially Lester.
particularly Lester. The man in the ring at the moment is the man you should be dodging.
Yes, and he's moving up. He's a growing boy. He's 22 years of age. He's growing, and he could very well grow into a lightweight. And if he does, he could very well have 3 or 4 titles. I know it's a lot to say, but it's every possibility with this kid.
You go back to his...
Break when I say break. Box.
You go back to his, his first professional fights against Wayne Mulholland, which I saw, which was back in '85. And
Yeah.
he didn't possess the ring craft that he's displaying here tonight. He's just improved each time out. He's had 14 pro fights. This is his 15th, and well, this guy's going to be anything.
Well, his weight, the weight that he's put on has made him a better fighter, to tell you the truth. The other thing we should say, too, is that Tony, of course, is a junior lightweight. He's the Australian junior lightweight champion. He's coming down a little bit to, in fact, he came in under this guy's weight, Fenech's weight, which surprised me a bit. But still in all, you'd think that he'd have a bit more going for him with the extra weight, but
Stop, keep your head up.
he's not doing it.
Just on halfway through the round. Well, of course, Jeff Fenech, I believe, has a
Stop
possible
holding,
option
Tony,
to
stop
fight
holding.
Antonio Rivera for the IBF Featherweight title later in the year. I think if Rivera would be watching a tape of this fight, he'd knock that back very quickly.
All right, keep your head up.
Rivera likes to stand off and use his long arms. Fenech wouldn't give him a chance. The other thing, of course, is that the Victorian Boxing Board of Control and the cooperation between them and the ABF to get this fight on in Melbourne was tremendous. Shows that it can be done.
A little bit of shoulder there from Fenech. Miller on the ropes, bounces back.
A little bit of Marrickville street fighting, why not?
He's a tough kid. He's got a bit of fire in him. You like the fighters that got fire in them.
Well, if a fighter hasn't got fire, and they should be in another business.
I think Tony Miller wishing right now he was.
Yeah, I think Tony would like to be out here with us, but He's showing plenty of ticker. As I said, a lot of good sides to Jeff Fenech. One of the other things that Jeff's very heavily involved in is the fight against drug use among the children, and he's got a fan club. And look at him go to work now.
That was a huge right hand.
He may be against drug use, but he's encouraging Tony to have an aspirin later.
With a couple. 15 seconds to go in the round.
The extra weight suits Fenech admirably. Poor Tony Miller meeting Fenech on a night like this.
Yeah, this is the bashing. There's no other word for it.
Stop holding. Stop holding.
Bell for the end of round. Gus Mercurio, I presume you would score that round to Fenech, so he's won every one so far.
Fenech has won every one so far. The first one he won by 2 points. And, you know, I'm looking for a way to find some way to give Tony something, but he's being dominated by Fenech.
Yeah, I guess it's not
overwhelmed is the word, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not in the business of charity.
Round 7.
He hasn't looked like winning a round. He hasn't looked like even squaring a round. Fenech's been all over him, and I don't know what he can do.
We have 3 judges tonight. Cliff Heber, Trevor Christian, and Ed Francis scoring the fight at ringside.
With the non-scoring referee, Denzel Creed, who is doing an excellent job after all the hullabaloo about him. He's a very competent referee.
And most of the complaints came from the Fenech camp. They were worried about Miller butting, elbows, the whole deal. And as far as that goes, the only elbows we've seen have been from Jeff Fenech.
Let's see if Tony Miller can delve deep into his bag of tricks.
Keep that head up.
Well, Denzel, that was a bad call because Fenech actually pushed Miller down. That's it, Tony. Tony's having a go.
Keep your head up, Tony. Keep the head up.
Notice the scratches on Miller's back from the right hand and left hook. Tremendous punches by Fenech.
Miller trying to cover up. He's in all sorts of trouble here. Fenech wants to keep him in the corner.
Miller trying to fight his way out. Almost succeeds.
Break it up, break it up, break it up, break it up, break it up. Come on, Jeffrey.
Well, for courage, Tony Miller would be well ahead on points, wouldn't he?
Oh, heavens, yes. The guy's got so much guts. Again, one of those guys that might have too much guts for his own good.
Yeah, that's right, Gus.
Look at that jab. Smack on.
And that is a jab, isn't it?
Oh,
He's got plenty of weight behind it. There's no powder puff punch that.
Oh, that right hand. He lined him up and he fired it and he landed.
Keep it clean now, fellas.
He's landing at will now, Fenech.
Yes.
Miller's doing his best to cover up. He's caught in the corner, but he's in all sorts of trouble. He's trying to box out.
A minute of round 7 remaining.
Miller has to get out of there. This is where Fenech's at his best. He's got Miller almost shot, but once again we see Miller fighting back. Where does he get this energy from? This man is extremely fit. Once again, the quick combination from Fenech.
Watch those elbows, Nick.
Watch the elbow.
There it is again. 3 punches in a matter of half a second.
I'll tell you what.
He's always got one on the way, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a class fighter.
Miller again in trouble. Fenech lining him up for the big right hand. Can't land it.
Miller staying low.
Well, I tell you what. If I were Denzel Creed, I'd be very close to rescuing Tony Miller.
20 seconds to go in the fight in this round.
I'd be very close to rescuing.
There's the bell for the end of round 7. Becoming a little bit puffy around the eyes, and that cut on the nose I don't think is causing him any undue problems. Let's go back to some of the replay of round 7. Again, Gus, I guess a round you'd scored a Fenech.
Oh, yes. In fact, I came very close to scoring that a 10-8 round in actual fact. I probably, to be honest with you, I should have scored it a 10-8 round. It was all Fenech. In fact, I was concerned that Denzel was going to stop it.
Round 8.
Well, Denzel could well have stopped the fight in that round. He didn't show any inclination to do so. Fenech was all over Miller.
What, do you put a standing count on him, Gus?
He can. According to the rules here, the referee may, doesn't have to, but may put a standing count. Standing 8 count on a fighter.
I think you hit it on the head a little while ago, Peter, when you said maybe Miller's got too much guts for his own good. The one thing Miller is doing, he's taking a lot of punches, but, you know, every now and again he's throwing a few back. He hasn't been helpless at any stage. Well, he was in the second round, but since then, since that terrible onslaught in the second round, he hasn't looked completely helpless.
Tony Miller is an interesting fighter. You know, in his second professional fight, he won the West Australian Junior Lightweight Championship. So the guy is... he started off by winning a 6-rounder and then went straight to a 10-rounder and won the Western Australian title. So he's a pretty good fighter.
He's opened up another cut above the right.
Break, Green, step back. When I say break, no punch on the break. Box.
Yes, the one on the nose wasn't causing him any problems. It was just a little bit of a gash. This one might be a little bit deeper.
Watch your head, Tony. Keep your head up.
And Jeff showed against Satoshi Shinyaki in his second.
It was not a headbutt. It was a punch that did that.
And as I was about to say, Jeff's shown before that he can work on that sort of cut. He goes to work on it. He'll open it up if he can. He'll jab, jab, jab.
Don't push his head, Jeff. Keep it up.
That's it. Denzel Creed doing a good job. A good job.
Don't hit on the break.
And Tony figuring he might as well get one in there while Creed had a hold of Fenech. Once again, Jeff's got him on the ropes. He's trying to cover up.
Jeff Fenech is looking awesome. Tony Miller is not an ordinary fighter, but Jeff Fenech is making him look ordinary.
He is tonight. They fought once before in the amateurs. That was in '83. It's a different ball game here.
Yeah, as I said earlier, a severe bout of distemper here for Tony Mad Dog Miller tonight, and I think Tony should trot out next round with either a double-barrel shotgun or something.
That'll do the job.
Maybe.
I think you need both barrels though, John.
Oh, he's quick, Jeff. He might jump out of the road.
Don't hold, Tony. Don't hold.
The 8th of 12 rounds we're in for the Australian Featherweight title on the 7 Network. The Melbourne Sports and Entertainment Centre, and so far it's the challenger Jeff Fenech all the way.
And two more good right hands we saw there from Jeff before that clinch was broken up by Denzel Creed. Less than 30 seconds to go in this round.
Oh, that was his best punch of the night.
It sure was. That'll give him some confidence, but Jeff Fenech goes back to work.
It stung him into action though. Don't do that to me, he says.
I think Fenech's going to have to walk his head sticking in the air because he's stung into action, but he goes in with his head in the air, and that's dangerous. Johnny Lewis, have a look at that.
All right. Break.
Well, to the end of the 8th. Miller looking very puffy though around the cheeks and the eyes.
Yes, he is.
Let's take a look at a replay of part of that round now.
And Brian Levere is, I see, watching that eye very closely, looking at it very closely. It's underneath the lid, more or less.
And once again, the awesome punching power
Look
of
at
Fenech,
that.
just so quick. But once again, Miller fights back.
Now, Miller comes back strong usually in the first part of the round. Watch him.
Well, Fenech has a target if he needed one, that eye. And I'm sure Denzel Creed, the referee, will be keeping a close watch on it.
I don't think it's bad enough at the moment, though. Peter will have to do a lot of work on it if he's going to have the fight stop through a... I don't think it's that bad. He'll have to really stick the jab to it. But, of course, Jeff, as we've seen against Shinyaki, is very adept at sticking a jab exactly where he wants it to go.
Oh, good body punch from Tony Miller. He slipped under the left jab of Fenech and went right to the body with the right hand. Good punch.
But Fenech counter-punched straight away.
Right hands, Tony.
He's gaining in confidence, Miller.
Which is surprising, I guess.
It is surprising.
Yeah.
What's the elbow, Jeff? What's the
Fenech
elbow?
come back with a left hook.
Come on, force it.
You almost think, do I want to hit Fenech? Because when I hit him, he comes back like a steamroller, you know? Look at that.
He's learned that trick in Merrickville, I reckon.
Well, my dad always used to tell me, son, the other guy may get a meal, but make sure you get a sandwich. Well, Fenech's getting a meal, isn't he?
Don't hold, Tony. Break it, Queen.
Yeah, and I think Tony's only getting half a slice as well.
I think maybe he's only getting part of a sandwich.
An eye a little bit puffy, not bleeding, but it's going to be hard to see out of tomorrow, I'd suggest.
Yeah, they did a good job of it in the corner.
They did. A lot of wheels across the back of
Right,
Miller,
don't hold.
too.
Don't hold. Don't hold. Tony, don't hold.
Keep working in there. Come on, Tony.
And Miller has the chance
Jeff.
to work Fenech away, but he couldn't do it.
Jeff's just so quick in that position. He's shown it so many times before. He was up against the ropes, and immediately he's turned defense into offense. And now Miller is the man with his backs to the wall.
We can see by the marks on Miller's back that he's had his back to the ropes a fair bit.
On hold.
And Jeff going to work here. He's looking for the opening to put that combination in. There it is.
Less than a minute to go in round 9.
All right.
And a credit to Tony Miller that he's lasted to round 9. He should have been on the deck in round 2.
Well, the first was his worst, wasn't it? He's in trouble again now.
Yes, he certainly went down to the first. In the second, he was in plenty of trouble. And it's gone on from there.
See that he fired 3 right hands on him. Dropped 2 of them right in.
Yeah, this isn't a rumble, it's a pumble.
All right.
That's a good line, pal. That's a good line, Johnny.
Mate, I've been thinking about it all night.
20 seconds to go. Round 9.
Not taking anything away from Tony, though.
I can just have the top, son. Have the top, Johnny. Come on.
He's in with the champ. There's no doubt about that.
Go for it. Go for it.
All right.
Well, I'm glad I've only got to go in there to interview him.
Bell for the end of round 9. 10, 11 and 12 to go in this Australian featherweight contest. Muhammad Ali, Gus, had a great left jab. Would Miller's be in that class?
Not quite, because Muhammad was a flicking punch, like a flick a fly off the wall sort of a punch. And if you imagine flicking a fly off the wall, you can see the difference in these jabs, can't you?
Certainly some weight behind it, though, just the same.
Encouragement there for Tony Miller as he goes in.
Round 10.
See that Tony comes out real strong, comes out whack, 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 you know? But the other guy's on top of him.
On hold now.
Doesn't let him do anything. See, you see, Tony is still strong. Tony's still got pep and energy. His fitness is superb, but he really can't make any dent on this guy.
No, a superb defensive fighter, Jeff Fenech. There's no doubt about that, and Tony hasn't been able to get inside, which is what he needs to do. He hasn't got the reach advantage. He's got to get inside and plug away, but it's getting a bit late for that now.
Yep. He's got to knock him out to win.
That's the only way he'll get a win. And I suppose Jeff Fenech would like to knock Tony out to really put his mark in this Melbourne scene, but Jeff Fenech to get a standing ovation from this Melbourne crowd before the fight. What kind of ovation he's going to get after the fight?
I think Melbourne fans would like to see him down here again.
And looking by the house, the people in here tonight, in this beautiful place, they're going to come and see him again,
And
pal.
they'll bring their friends too. But of course, his next fight at the Sydney Entertainment Centre, May 8th, rather, the shot at his second world title, Samart Parkeroon, the former Taiwanese national kickboxing champion.
Miller bleeding a little bit from the nose now.
See that? He got hit and he kind of smiled, said, gee whiz, that was I shouldn't let that one through. Good kid. Tough kid.
And all business from Jeff Fenech. There's no letting up.
Both boys superbly fit.
All right, break, step back, step back, step back.
Denzel's doing a good job. Denzel Creed doing a good job.
Watch that hit.
Yeah, he's kept the fighters apart.
He's done a good job. We've got a Victorian judge, and we have a New South Wales judge, and we have a Queensland judge. And we have the Victorian Boxing Control Board and the Australian Boxing Federation that got together. Good right hand. They got together and allowed this fight to go on.
Watch the elbow, says Denzel Creed.
Well, that's the third time Jeff's been warned for holding down the head of Tony Miller and working away with the other hand. And
oh, you
good
know, Tony
combination.
come through with the right hand and left hook there.
straight away, Jeff goes to work again. A left and right combination.
Break. No punching on the break.
Oops. The referee got one. Half a minute to go in the round. By gee, those fists are lightning fast.
Well, I tell you what, they wanted a warm-up for Fenech. They got a warm-up. A lot of people thought it was going to be too hard a fight. But Fenech's making it look fairly easy, even though Tony Miller's not given an inch. Not a centimeter.
10
Not
seconds
a
to go.
millimeter.
Stop holding.
He's staying right with him.
Stay on him, Jeff. Stay on him.
Bell goes for the end of round 10. 2 rounds to go in the Australian Featherweight Championship from the Melbourne Sports and Entertainment Centre between Jeff Fenech and Tony Miller. As we go to a replay or part of the previous round.
Fenech again, as we see, working away, and we missed it there on that replay, but he did manage to put a shot in with the referee. I don't know whether he's had an argument with him as well, with Denzo, but Jeff looks supremely fit. Miller, testament to his courage that he's still there.
Round 11, 2 to go. So 6 minutes of boxing. Should it go the distance?
And judging by this, Miller's not going to go down as much as Fenech would like him to.
No. Well, he wanted to work out, and as Gus said, he certainly got it.
He certainly got it, I'll tell you what. And, you know, Tony Mad Dog Miller, there's no dog in Tony Miller at all, is there? He's got as much fight as, you know, as, what do they say, junkyard dog, you know?
Well, it's the drover's dog now, isn't it?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. But I said before, if they're giving points for courage, then Tony Miller would be well ahead.
Unfortunately, that's not the game we're in, but he's plugging away. Jeff continues to counter-punch. He seems content now, Jeff, to counter-punch. He's going after him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's realised it's going to go the distance.
I'm sure he realises he's got the points on the board, and that Miller has to knock him out.
Don't hold, Tony, don't hold.
He's getting a tremendous workout for a fight in a month's time, and he's not damaged in any way. His hand looks all right. He's not having any problems there. Punching-wise, it doesn't look to be. He's not cut. He's not bruised. He's not marked. So he'll go into the May 8th fight unmarked as it looks now.
And once again, we see the superb ring craft of Jeff Fenech. He was against the ropes, but still managed to quickly turn defense into offense. And here he goes again. He's going to work. The cut above Miller's eye is getting worse.
The only thing that I say, and I say it again, he's got his head stuck in the air. When he starts winging him like that with somebody, he could get hit.
I don't know whether Clackaroon is a little bit taller than Tony Miller. Possibly he is.
Yes, he is actually, Peter, so maybe that could cause a problem.
Yep. A minute to go in the round. And we have one to go after this. I think for Tony it'll be a welcome sound.
See that? 2 right hands. Tony got lucky.
You let one go in there.
Yeah, Tony having a wry smile there.
He's a good kid, Tony.
Keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean.
A ton of heart. He would have beaten a lot of other fighters tonight.
He would have beaten everybody on heart alone, really. Tony's got the capacity to break a guy's heart. He hasn't broke Fenech's heart tonight. Neither has Fenech broke his.
Fenech hasn't broken him at all.
Don't hold, Tony.
Less than half a minute to go.
Jeff again with that habit of using the elbow in the clinches. And then the headlock.
He said not in the boxing manual, but obviously he learnt those elsewhere.
Oh, they work.
Close to the bell for the 11th. And in fact, there it is. We've got 1 round to go. 1 round to go as we go back to round 11 now.
And there's Jeff at work again. Not landing quite as well as he was earlier. Miller is the habit of keeping his head very, very low. He's been warned about it a few times. Of course, he's trying to stay out of trouble.
You wouldn't blame him, would you?
No, I wouldn't blame him. If I was him, as I said earlier, I'd be putting the running shoes on. But he's trying to avoid it. A lot of respect here from these two guys.
Final round for the Australian featherweight title between Tony Miller and Jeff Fenech. On Gus Mercurio's card, the challenger, Jeff Fenech, well ahead on points.
It's a wipeout, in actual fact. It's 11 rounds to zip, as they said in the America's Cup at this point. One point I'd like to mention when they say about Miller getting his head too low, he can bob down to the waistband of the other fighter. He can't get below that. If he gets below that, then he's getting his head too low. But you notice that Fenech did push his head down below that point at time.
Yeah, Jeff does have that habit of nabbing him in a headlock and pushing him down. Jeff is going to go for the knockout here. You can tell he's chasing Miller. A good combination, another combination. He's working away with that jab.
And Miller still comes back.
Yeah, Miller's not going to go down. Jeff wants him to.
What a warm-up. What a warm-up fight for Jeff Fenech. Who is going to back, what's his name, Sam put...
Samart Parkeroon, no one.
What'd you say? You said that very easy, Bill.
Samart Parkeroon.
We won't,
forget his name, because after Fenech meets him, forget him.
Well, good right hand from Miller.
He's a former kickboxing champion. Oh, Jeff has got him in trouble again. He won't go down, Miller. He's
Stick,
going to fight
Tony.
back out.
Tony's gonna stick. He deserves to stick all the way now.
Yeah, he deserved to hang in there. Jeff's going back to work.
Watch your hits.
Tremendous support from his corner.
I think it's just arm punches from Jeff now. Just arm punches.
Yeah, he's a tired boy. They're not coming from the shoulders, that's for sure.
Well, the guts of Tony Miller to get up off the canvas in the first round, and it looks as though he's going to last the distance in this fight. And great credit to him for that, because he's totally been outclassed here tonight by Jeff Fenech in this featherweight title, so he's going to lose his Australian title if the judges Cliff Heaver, Trevor Christian and Ed Francis see it the way we do.
I don't think there's any other way they can see it, Peter.
All right.
If they don't see it, we're never going to get out of here alive, I'll tell you that.
Well, you don't have to be a mental giant to work out who's won this one.
But again, you know, I mean, Fenech's been on top, but Miller has not made it easy.
Oh, what a brawl. What a finish to a great...
And this is a 12th round.
Miller going for the big ones, but
Jeff
I just got to look.
30 seconds to go.
I just got to look at Tony's face there, and he looked, oh my goodness, very resigned to the fact that he's in one hell of a fight here, and thank God it's almost over.
Fenech trying to bail him up in the neutral corner.
Yeah, he's coming on strong, Fenech again. He'll keep him in this corner to the end of the fight.
What's the
Close
time?
to the bell.
Peter, what's the time?
A few seconds to go, Gus.
Thankfully, there it is.
The bell for the end of the fight between Tony Miller and Jeff Fenech, and the standing ovation for both boys from this huge crowd at the Melbourne Sports and Entertainment Centre. They certainly got their money's worth. Two great fighters. What a fight it was. We'll be back with the decision.
Trevor Christian awards Jeff Fenech 120 points, Tony Miller 109 points. Ed Francis, Jeff Fenech 120 points, Tony Miller 107 points. Cliff Heaver, Jeff Fenech 120 points. Tony Miller 101 points. The winner.
It's a unanimous points decision. Jeff Fenech is the new Australian featherweight champion, defeating Tony Miller. And Jeff, a very, very popular fighter here at the Melbourne Sports and Entertainment Centre. We hope you've enjoyed the fight. John Harker, thanks for your comments tonight. Thank you to Gus Mercurio. And wherever you've been watching on the 7 Network, I'm sure you enjoyed one of the best fights we've seen for a long, long time. Peter Landy on behalf of 7 Sport, good night.